Our first talk will be from Cindy and myself. I'm a grade 12 student studying at St. Mildred's Lightbourne School. I'm planning on studying health sciences in my post-secondary education and hope to become a doctor in the future. I have a passion for nonprofit work, and I've worked with various organizations such as the Junior Oakville Optimist Club, the United Way of Oakville, Toronto People with AIDS, UNICEF Canada, SAVIS, doing walls, and more. My favorite pastimes are napping, practicing my makeup, and watching Netflix.
And I am a grade 12 student at Iroquois Ridge High School. I will be studying commerce at Queen's University this fall before hopefully pursuing a career in law. I am passionate about justice, politics, and international development. I do work with the Optimist Club of Oakville, World Vision, and the Government of Canada. I'm also the president of my school's law and mock trial team and an executive on our Model United Nations. I enjoy competing on my school's dance team, playing sports, and reading in my spare time. Our youth talk for you tonight is called Strength Through Diversity. So I'm going to start us off. My first few years of living were spent between two countries. I can recall early mornings in the backs of taxi cabs and late nights of farewells at airports. I finally permanently settled in Canada at age 5. Although my childhood was spent constantly on the move, it has always been surrounded by loving individuals, and I think that is the only thing that truly mattered. My parents came to Canada with a simple and selfless goal, to provide me with the opportunities they never had. To this day, that selflessness still puts me in awe. The common thread amongst most immigrant families is the idea of going somewhere, not for yourself, but for someone else, the idea of building a better life. It is the ultimate act of self-sacrifice. I think it is incredibly brave to leave behind everything that you have ever known and been comfortable with as an adult and stepping into the unknown for someone who you owe nothing to. When Ira and I were asked to present our story on immigration, we sat down together to discuss points of adversity in our lives. We talked and laughed and cried for a few hours, and although there were a few moments, we soon realized the problems we had were very insignificant in the face of the hardships that both our parents have endured. In direct contradiction to the surface level adversity, in fact, was a sense, this feeling of being incredibly lucky to have had the support of such loving, careless, and selfless individuals in our lives. Perhaps we still have to work a bit harder in order to establish our own network and navigate society and culture on our own. But we have always had the love and support of our parents behind us, and that was more than enough. This brings me to my point. Regardless of your journey or story, relationships are so important in our lives. Without the support of my parents and other adults who continue to provide me with mentorship, nothing that we have done today could have been possible. Great things can happen when you are empowered by your relationships rather than limited by them. I would like to leave you with this. Seek gratitude and love as foundations for your relationships, because there is nothing that is stronger.
I vividly remember the first thing I saw when I landed in Canada for the first time. I came out of Toronto Pearson Airport and saw this thick blanket of white stuff covering the sidewalk. At the time, I had never seen snow before, so you could imagine the kind of questions 4-year-old Ira had. But what I didn't understand at the time was that the snowfall of 2005 was just the beginning of many winters in this country I would come to consider home. But it wasn't easy, and I don't just mean the snow. I moved around to about 8 different schools throughout my childhood, so learning to adapt wasn't just a skill I wanted to learn, it was one that I had to. But looking back, it's one that I am so grateful to have. Now, what exactly encompasses the skill of adaptation? Well, it's being flexible, it's being considerate, and it's understanding that adapting doesn't mean giving up your interests, heritage, or personality to fit in. Throughout elementary school, all I wanted to be was like everybody else. I remember being embarrassed to bring Indian food to lunch or speaking Hindi in public. And I believe a large part of that was because of the media. I've been heavily influenced by media throughout my life. Movies, music, TV shows, and growing up, there wasn't anyone who looked like me in Western media. There was nobody I could see myself in, and thus subconsciously I felt like I didn't have a place in society. Now you might be wondering, Ira, how does this all play into strength with diversity? Well, having a diverse society isn't just one that accepts differences, but it's one that recognizes the power of representation. It's one that's not colorblind, but one that recognizes a mirage of colors as beauty. And it's one that cherishes the generational and rich traditions and cultures of each race, religion, and person. When writing this talk, Cindy and I sat down to discuss the major common thread between both of our life stories. What we realized was that building relationships was an integral part of both of our lives. From first-hand experiences of having to live separately from your parents to having to face adversity when showcasing your culture in public, it took courage for both of us to accept our differences not as flaws, but as strengths. If there's a message I want you all to take away from my story, it's that you should make the most of your relationships right now. Because so many people are going to enter and leave throughout your life. You must learn to adapt, stay true to yourselves and your values, and learn from the people around you. After all, what makes us all greater is the people we surround ourselves with.
Ira and I have learned many lessons from growing up with two dichotomizing cultural perspectives, but the most prominent one, perhaps, is the importance of working hard. Without a doubt, education is the most crucial factor in poverty alleviation and solving global issues around the world. It is the solution to many social problems and the foundations for a brighter future. It elevates us and opens doors that are previously not present. It is the recognition of this fact that propels society forward and drives us, the children of immigrants, forward.
We learn to work harder to ensure that the sacrifices and changes our parents made for us aren't in vain. It's to show people that women of color can succeed, and it's to prove to the world that we are valuable of patience, love, and education. One of my favorite quotes is, "You'll never change the world by being like it," and it's one that I like to think back to every time I feel like I don't quite belong. Because the key to finding happiness within yourself and the relationships in your lives is by embracing your individuality. It's cherishing your uniqueness and all the wonderful diversity that lives in the astounding world around us.
I just want to say that my parents indulged me in every single hobby I came up with throughout my childhood, and they were not scarce. I went through expensive private piano lessons, art classes, swimming, and a very expensive competitive dance career. Yet my parents never pressured me into doing anything I didn't want to do. When it came to my career, they didn't care whether or not I wanted to be a ballerina or an investment banker. The only thing that mattered to them was my happiness. The world was my oyster, and never once have my parents stood in the way of that. One of my favorite Latin sayings by Seneca the Younger is "Inia soram probat miseria fortes viros," which translates roughly to "Fire is the test of gold, adversity tests strong men." I like to think that adversity have forged me into becoming a stronger person, but in reality, everything that I am today has only been possible because of the support of my parents. So make sure you empower those around you, provide support, effectively communicate, because the key to finding such satisfaction in your life is building strong relationships.
Before we conclude our talk, we'd like to give a special shout out to four very important people in the audience today. My parents, can give a little wave, and Cindy's parents. It seemed only fair that we recognize them because this talk was inspired by them, and I don't think we've ever really given the chance to properly thank you, and this is the least we can do after all that you've done for us. So I would like to end our talk today by sharing a beautiful poem I came across the other day by Rupi Kaur, a phenomenal Indian-Canadian poet. They have no idea what it's like to lose home at the risk of never finding home again. Have your entire life split between two lands and become the bridge between two countries. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we progress to the next talk, I would just like to take 2 minutes to talk about World Vision's No Child for Sale campaign. As a World Vision Youth Ambassador, I have had exposure to many things that I was previously not aware of. It should not come as a shocking realization that not every child in the world has the same opportunities or has the same chances to lead the lives that we do here. Some of them face grueling conditions of labor, trafficking, and slavery across the world. But not everyone knows that we can do something about this. Well, some of you may be wondering, what can we do about it? Because it almost appears as if we have no direct influence or impact on what is happening across the world. Child labor, trafficking, and slavery appears to be an obscure, faraway issue that has no place here in Oakville, Ontario. Yet there are many decisions we make in our everyday lives that impact these children, from consumer decisions, such as purchasing from or supporting corporations that violate such ethics, to ignorance, like turning a blind eye to the social issues around us because we are in a comfortable position ourselves. So I would like to ask everyone to take a few minutes before leaving tonight to pick up one of the World Vision pamphlets, cards, or flyers on the resources table outside today, or take the time to visit nochildforsale.ca, where you can sign a petition to join the voices advocating against the exploitation of children, take a consumer awareness quiz, or get involved in numerous amount of ways. If you would like to distribute these resources to your church, organization, or any other nonprofits that you're a member of, please do not hesitate to approach me at the end of the night, and I will be glad to assist you with any other further initiatives. Thank you.
Our next talk tonight is called Life as a Teen in the 21st Century and is presented by Julia Gooley and Danielle Southard, who are both grade 8 students at Sunningdale Public School. Danielle has lived in Oakville her whole life, and she says that she enjoys every minute of it. She loves anything to do with bringing people together, like this event, and she wants to learn even more about how to get involved in our community.
In her free time, Julia takes part in Taekwondo and likes to participate in many after-school activities. Talking about life from the perspective of someone her age is important to her because she thinks there's a lot of people who don't know what it's like to be a youth in 2018. She hopes her youth talk will bring more awareness. Please welcome Julia and Danielle.
You might have a kid, or you at least know some in this generation, but it's possible that you don't really know what it's like to be a teenager in the 21st century. Yes, we do understand that you were a teen once, and we do share a lot of the same struggles that you did, such as peer pressure and bullying. But a lot of stuff has changed, and that's what we're here to share with you today.
One misconception that you may have about us is that we're all addicted to our phones. Maybe not all of you think that, but there are some people who do. There are some teens who are addicted to their phones, yes, but just because a lot of teens carry them around and use them does not mean we are addicted. When I look around, I see a lot of people who look attached to their phone and disconnected, but the majority of the people I know are easily able to put down their phones and enjoy life. We do use these things in our regular lives, but that doesn't make us completely dependent on them.
Another thing is how we think. Some adults may think that we have the same way of thinking and that we're all going through the same things in our lives or that we would react the same in all situations. This, however, is false. We each may come across similar scenarios in our lives with the same sorts of people, but each teen is an individual person and will choose to react in a different way because our personalities and mindsets make us all different.
Another misconception that you may have about teens is that we all have powerful cliques. For example, there might be the jocks and then the mean girls and the nerds. But at schools like mine, you don't really see cliques. You see the people who are maybe a bit more extroverted, some people who are introverted, but most people get along and there's no noticeable cliques.
There are so many things that we have in common from when you were our age. One of those things that happens to everyone at some point is drama and arguments. These are things that happen naturally as humans. People will come across disagreements even if they're on different topics.
Another thing is the pressures that will always be faced in our world. Maybe smaller decisions or even life-changing ones. You can be pressured to make because there will always be people who are pressuring us to make them.
We also see things such as trends in our generation. For example, at one point, it was having a fidget spinner or making slime. Trends are formed when someone has an idea and everyone decides they like it, or they just do it to fit in. We will probably see trends as long as there are other people to influence others.
A fourth thing that existed while each and every one of us was a teen is bullying. Bullying is something that people do to project anger towards someone else for any reason, but we, however, have been starting to see changes in bullying. Cyberbullying is now one of the more common forms of bullying that is used to reach other people throughout the internet. Cyberbullying isn't something that happens to all kids, and I don't know many cases of cyberbullying that have happened, but I do know that it does happen all over the world. And I don't think the solution is to ban social medias because bullies can still find other ways to reach out.
We are so much like how you all were, but at the same time, we are very different as well. Some of the biggest changes have been regarding technology. Technology has completely changed the environment that we have around us.
Everyone is so dependent on their phones for communication, and we have access to tools such as Google, where we can get enough information on almost any topic instantly without even opening one book.
This makes the way of education different as well. Nowadays, we have Chromebooks in almost every classroom. At our school, we used to have a computer lab in which we would do projects and learn to type. But when our school switched to Chromebooks, they stopped teaching important skills such as typing. The thing that we find odd is that now teachers expect us to type most assignments, but doesn't it make it more difficult now that typing has been stopped? Now that typing has been stopped being taught? A large sum of the people my age I know have never actually been taught how to type, although it is now a crucial skill that we need.
Another thing is Google Apps overall. In our region, Google Apps are depended on for learning. We use things such as the search engine, docs, and slides, and also Google Classroom. Google Classroom is a tool that teachers use to post assignments so that the students can see, and then we can attach a file to submit our assignments. In this way, they can receive an online copy of our work without having to receive a hard copy. As you can see, there have been many advancements in education involving technology.
Another thing is free time. What we do in our free time is probably a lot different than how you used yours. I noticed that many people now spend more time on their phones, disconnected from everyone else. Not to say that everyone does, because there's still many people who enjoy things like reading, socializing, and enjoying the outdoors.
Additionally, now things can be more strict with filling out forms and stuff for everything you do. But we also get to have more opportunities in our community that we live in now. We get to choose between so many programs for school, and we have so many chances to join different clubs and teams and go on field trips and learn in new ways.
Many parents want to be involved with their children's lives, and I think that's a great thing, but sometimes parents can be a bit overbearing. I understand that you all want to know what's going on in your child's life, and I think that's a good thing, but we also do need our privacy. So the question is really finding a good balance in your child's life between not caring enough and being overbearing. For example, I would consider overbearing as constantly being logged into your child's social media and reading every single text that they share with their friends. And I would consider not caring enough as not even checking up on them every once in a while. Also, if you're the type of parent to be overbearing, your child might take that as you not trusting them, and that may just cause other problems. An alternative solution would be to check up on your child's medias when you see that they are acting differently or you have a concern that something is going on.
And sometimes teens just feel like they need support, as opposed to being pressured, because support and help can go a long way to help us succeed. Sometimes pressuring teens to get the perfect grade can actually cause stress, which then hinders their performance. Instead of saying, you should have done better, you could say, how can I help you do better? Or let's help you do better. And I find this is how most teens want to be supported.
From my point of view, at my age specifically, this generation is not better than past ones. When I look around in our world today, I can see the changes that have happened the time that I have lived. Now, I see more shootings on the news, shifts in technology, and more land being destroyed in the community. These things have been gradual, but looking back at where we are now, a lot has been changing.
Currently, I see the world as something that's not in a great state overall, but when I look at our community, I realize how lucky I am to be in one such as this. I live in a community where we have so many different opportunities and choices, and many people out there don't have these things.
The struggles in each of our lives are different around the world and where we live. The struggles as a teen can have a lot to do with pressure and stress. Teens often feel pressured by school, parents, extracurricular activities, and where we will go to college and how our lives will turn out. But that's a lot to focus on all at once and at such a young age. But it is helpful when we are guided by our adult role models. Many people feel strongly pressured by parents, and that works for some people, but for others, we just want a hand to support us.
So I hope that you now understand how the world is viewed by at least some teens, and what differences we have in our lives then compared to what you had in your lives when you were a teen. So thank you for letting us use some of your time tonight, and I hope you take this with you and think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia and Danielle. Our next speaker, Hargun Kaureki, is a student in grade 9 at White Oak Secondary School. She feels inspired by incredible ladies who are shaping our world, whether they be authors, artists, doctors, activists, or youth sharing their passion. Her favorites being Malala and Emma Watson.
She's currently a member of her school's public speaking club, and she looks forward to sharing her youth talk with you, Understanding Feminism, a Youth's Perspective. Please welcome Hargun.
Grade 9 can be really hard. The beginning of high school, with homework to do, impressing teachers, greeting stress, extracurriculars on our heads, everything's a mess. Even with all my work that was due, I had free time that I could use. Now I could tell you I looked at the news, helping out the world as was due. Unfortunately, that won't be true. Instead, I plopped down on the couch, watched TV until my eyes threatened to turn red. After a month or so, I thought this won't do. This kind of behavior won't help me spread my tree's roots. So on that day, I got off the couch. Maybe a week would be more appropriate. All right, fine. It took a month for my inspiration to strike. I opened my laptop and racked my brain for world issues I could use. Only feminism came to mind, and the news made me blue. I saw women marching out in the streets, protesting against a yellow-haired golf geek. But my heart then did joyous glides, because there are women out there who stand with pride. I saw in every corner of the world I looked, I saw women with faces that bloomed, planting seeds for change, inspiring little girls to go out there too. I saw reform caused not by skirts, but by glasses, which lifted me too. If a year ago you told me I can write poetry, I would be like, nah girl, you lying. I joined public speaking, a club at my school, because I thought they gave free advice on how to speak, and boy did I need help. Stuttering and muttering and hiding in corners. All right, maybe I didn't hide in corners, but if there was a corner, I wished to be near it. Not only did I get the help I needed, but I also learned that words can be impactful. They had a way of resonating within the listener or the reader after they were spoken or read. Today, after being given this wonderful opportunity, I decided to speak about feminism, a topic I feel about really strongly. According to Google, feminism is the advocacy of the equality of sexes. It means that men and women are the same. They're equal. Being in high school, you'll meet a lot of people. Short people, medium people, tall people. If you live in Canada and you walk down the hallway, you'll see 20 cultures splattered across the corridor. I should know, in my science class, there are 5 tables, and they all speak in a different language. Of course, this wasn't the case 50 to 60 years ago. In fact, as accepting and adaptable to change as we may seem, it has only been 100 years since women were allowed to own property. They earned the right to vote 10 years later. We've come a long way, but we can go further. Women still aren't paid the same as men in the Canadian workplace. Research shows that if a woman wears feminine clothing to an interview, she's more likely to get a job than if she's less likely to get their job than if she wears masculine clothing. In recent years, the word feminism has sparked a lot of controversy, often getting confused with man-hating. A common misconception is that it only supports women, but that's not true. Now I know what you're thinking. Feminism literally has the word female in it. That is because when the word first came into light, it was used to empower women who stood in the shadows of their male counterparts, urging them to come forward. Feminism is the equality of the sexes. It doesn't mean we put one gender over the other, whether it be males or females. It enforces that they be considered the same. I am a feminist. If you're for women, if you're for men, if you're for everyone, then you're also a feminist. Because feminism is just another word for equality. In school, not only did the people have different cultures and heights, they also have different personalities. I've seen boys who love Rapunzel so much, they've seen it 14 times and counting. Cheerleaders who get 93s and girls who can not only hold down a job, have extracurriculars, do volunteer work, but also manage to hand in their homework on time. Teenage is a time of self-discovery, when we find ourselves in the stuff that we do and have mishaps like toilet paper sticking out of our shoes. Freedom is not just about speech. It's about expression. It's about men wearing makeup and women flaunting their bra straps. It's about equality. And like I said before, feminism is equality. If I have a baby girl in 20 to 30 years, I want her to share the same rights as the guy next to her. I want to be strong for her so that when life gets her down, she'll get back up again saying, "You haven't met my mama." Me and countless other teenage girls are willing to put in the work, to fight gender stereotypes and form a better world for the generations to come. But as adults, are you?
Thank you, Hargoon. We really appreciate your perspective. Our next youth talk is called Behind the Mirror and will be presented this evening by Noor Toema.
Noor is 16 years old and she goes by she, her pronouns. She was born and raised in Cairo, Egypt. Then she moved to Saudi Arabia and lived there for 4 years. Finally, in 2010, she came to Canada. Moving from place to place has given her a broad perspective on the world and has allowed her to experience many wonderful cultures and communities. She is passionate about speaking about youth because she wants to raise awareness about the difficulties that youth currently face in the age of social media and society's social expectations. She has had personal experience and some of the challenges youth face in this decade, such as poor mental health, peer pressure, and media pressure. She wants to raise adult awareness so that they can support youth even more through their awkward and stressful stages in their lives. Please welcome Noor.
When we are younger, the world around us seems to be grand and open for us to explore. Although our choices as children are small, we live with the freedom to make them, which is why they are so significant to us. At a young age, we feel capable and excited to discover new things, make new friends, and learn. We understand that there are consequences for our actions, but we continue to take risks. Each day, we expect to fail, yet grow from our mistakes. That is what makes us love life. Based off of the average attitude a child has towards their life experience, it is anticipated that their curiosity will only persist and develop over the years. However, reality has proven that the exact opposite takes place. As a youth in 2018, it is unmanageable to feel secure about many, many things. Understandably, we encounter many stressors such as school, part-time jobs, family, friendships, puberty, social placement, and the uncertainty of our futures. However, the negative results of leading such demanding lives at young ages is that we are willing to take unhealthy risks rather than ones that benefit us. Our communities, and especially in Canada, are very supportive in terms of providing accessible resources for us to attain help for our mental and physical health. Yet the issue is that we are simply never given the time or motivation to pursue any action for support. The way that our lives are currently built does not allow us to take care of our mental health or become physically active on a regular basis. Opposingly, the excessive responsibilities that we are asked to uphold only damages our journey to becoming healthy young adults. Being raised in the 20th century has provided so many incredible opportunities and advances for youth to become more involved within the world. As a youth in 2018, your life circumstances are remarkably unique because you are expected to react and engage with the world to the same extent that an adult does. However, you are not granted the corresponding freedoms or input. You are expected to independently learn how to balance your life both online and offline. As the world continues to advance in technology, daily tasks continue to evolve in order to uphold the primary form of communication, the internet. In schools, all educational materials are being transferred to online platforms, which means that learning occurs through the screen. Although this system has many benefits and allows to complete tasks more efficiently, it also prevents many unreasonable expectations for youth to perform. Attending school in 2018 requires that youth complete their schoolwork and homework online using a technological device. Moreover, this resolves that youth must spend at least 6 hours in front of a screen dedicating their energy and absolute focus to solely learning the materials provided each day. This expectation is explicitly impractical due to the various distractions that arise from the online world. Other than simply having to remove our eyes off the screen every once in a while to regain a fresh vision, the plethora of distractions encountered online is the main source of interruptions in our concentration. Therefore, it is unfair to assume that youth are lazy or unproductive simply because they spend too much time on their devices. Yes, it is true, we are likely to waste our time on social media platforms and television shows. However, these online apps and sites provide us with a sense of escape from whatever is happening in our life. Either the fast approaching deadlines of strenuous assignments, the drama involved with going to high school, the pressure to decide on the future, just overall the heavy expectations which weigh us down. That is why when being tasked the impossible, sometimes it feels that the best way to relieve stress is by taking a break. We are asked to study, work, communicate, explore, essentially live our lives online. Yet we are still shamed for being attached to our connection with the internet. In our classes, in public, at our homes, we are frowned upon for wasting our lives by being glued to our devices. However, what is the alternative when life is experienced online? Over the past decade, social media has become more widely and frequently used by youth across the globe. These platforms are now the epicenter of most friendships, as well as the main cause of anxiety amongst youth of all genders. At such young ages, we are exposed to many beauty and fashion standards that we feel we must uphold in order to be accepted and admired in society. More and more young children are obtaining access to social media accounts without recognizing that the online world and ideals portrayed by the media are not real. This leads to youth growing up always fixated on changing different aspects of who they are based on what's trending. Furthermore, our interactions online leave us vulnerable to a lot of negativity through hate comments, cyberbullying, and unrealistic social requirements, which moreover cause us to develop invalidating self-images. Having to work through the anxiety associated with our online lives and troubles, as well as our offline challenges, is a vigorous duty that only leaves us more confused and frustrated. The main challenge, though, is seeking aid from adults and communicating our problems without feeling like our emotions or inner thoughts are neglected once they react to what we describe as stressful events. Adults are our allies. They are the wiser role models that we as youth should be reaching out to during our times of dismay. However, it is common for adults to perceive our problems as small and invaluable, even if they might be the principal events which we base our decisions and emotions around. It is easy for adults to neglect the tremendous pressures that youth are facing today and disregard their effects on us. As we continue to grow closer to the age of adulthood, larger and larger responsibilities are handed towards us, without any precautions to what they entail over the long term. Each step we take from now has a consequence. However, instead of taking risks, we have succumbed to hiding in fear from our dreams rather than daring to pursue our passions. The media, our families, our friends, our schools, they have all advised us to take safer routes in life rather than taking chances. Each day we are inspired by millennials around the world who are achieving their ultimate goals. Yet we retain from allowing ourselves to do the same due to our worries about failure, but moreover because we dread to be disappointed from the outcomes of our actions. As young millennials, we are experiencing so many changes within ourselves, along with the various changes occurring in the world around us. We are constantly striving to be independent, but feel limited with the control over our lives. Nevertheless, to change our fates, we must communicate. Behind the busy schedule of a stressed youth with uncertainty about their future is a child whose priorities should be to care for their mental and physical well-being. As hectic and messy our lives may get, it is important for us to confide in our adult allies for support through the difficult and celebratory times. It is within us to reach out for the help, but it is solely up to us to decide the paths of our lives. This year presents a new opportunity for youth and adults to connect on a level of mutual support, respect, and trust. By communicating our needs and sharing our stories as youth, we will be able to gain more confidence and feel safer to reach out for help. Moreover, by having encouragement from adults to surpass our limits, we will be able to become the best versions of ourselves as long as we commit to growing. Never give up on your dreams and aspirations, for youth are unstoppable with the support of a helping hand. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your insight with us tonight, Noor. Our next youth speaker will be talking about some of the issues LGBTQ+ youth face and how they may be addressed. Charlotte is a grade 12 student who is very passionate about social justice. She's the president of her school's GSA and does a lot of work in her larger community through the Positive Space Network.
Recently, she organized an event centered around fostering intergenerationality in the Halton LGBTQ+ community. Her commitment to this work stems from a desire to dismantle oppressive systems and ultimately make the world a better place for marginalized folk to live in. Please welcome Charlotte.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of you. I wanted to first off start by thanking everyone else who spoke today. I'm really in awe of all of your wisdom, and also everyone who helped make this happen. It's incredibly impressive. So LGBTQ plus youth face many issues, including disproportionate rates of homelessness, bullying, violence, mental health issues, as well as a lack of support for many, as well as a lack of support for many of our families and communities. Originally, I intended to dedicate my speech to addressing these issues. However, while doing so is extremely important, I ultimately decided that it'd be more powerful if I used this platform to speak to the ways adults in our communities can support LGBTQ plus youth. So I formatted this like a list. So my first point would be to educate yourself. In my opinion, education is the key to addressing homophobia and transphobia, and educating yourself is the first step in supporting any marginalized community. By educating yourself, you'll be able to better understand the experiences and our community. By educating yourself, this knowledge is imperative in order to properly support us and to address misconceptions or lack of information that you may have. For example, I, like many of us, was brought up to view that gender and sex is very binary, meaning man and women or male and female are like it's exclusive to those categories. And and I had to educate myself in order to unlearn this misconception and properly understand the spectrums of gender and sex. And if I didn't do that, I would be unable to support non-binary or intersex friends and loved ones. So that's just a personal example that I wanted to give to explain why it's so important to take the time to educate yourself and why that's kind of the first step in making sure you can act as a support system for LGBTQ plus youth. And then also by educating yourself on issues that we experience and why they exist, you're more capable of addressing them and dismantling them, which is obviously crucial to, helping us exist safely in this world. So the second point would be to educate the people around you, especially other adults. So once you educate yourself, that gives you the knowledge and the language to enable you to educate the people around you as well. This is crucial because the more people are informed about our experiences and community, the more people will be able to support us. Also, a lot of the misconceptions that people hold about the LGBTQ plus community are very dangerous and translate to real life violence for LGBTQ plus people. So it's incredibly important that we educate people in order to dismantle these misconceptions that exist. And then the third point is to be there for the LGBTQ plus youth in your life. Express your support to any LGBTQ plus youth you know, because knowing that we have adults in our life that are there to support us can honestly be life-saving. As LGBTQ plus youth, we often face issues like the ones I spoke to in the beginning of this speech, and going through these things alone is an extremely daunting and isolating experience. Furthermore, as an adult, you might have more power to address the issues that a youth is experiencing, and even if a situation is beyond your control, at least they won't be going through it alone. Number 4 would be to talk to those who have influence in the lives of young people. For example, ask your healthcare providers how qualified they feel to respond to the needs of trans patients. Ask your teachers, or ask teachers you know, I guess they're adults, how they demonstrate their support to LGBTQ plus students and how they work to create LGBTQ plus inclusive curriculum. Since these people are often extremely influential in the lives of young people, it is incredibly important that they are able to meet the unique needs of LGBTQ plus youth. For example, many trans people are referred by their doctors to outside medical professionals, and as a result, the support or care that they need is often deferred due to long wait times, even though with simple training, family doctors are often able to meet these needs. So by advocating for this training to your doctors or other healthcare providers that you might know, you're demonstrating a commitment to supporting LGBTQ+ youth by ensuring we have access to the healthcare we need. As a side note, the Positive Space Network provides this training in the Halton region, so I'm very happy to give you their contact information if that's something you feel would be beneficial. And that leads me to my final point, which is supporting organizations that are committed to improving the lives of LGBTQ+ people and youth. Positive Space Network offers amazing supportive programming for LGBTQ+ youth in the Halton region. Some examples of the programs that they offer are drop-ins where LGBTQ+ youth can meet other LGBTQ+ youth and receive support from facilitators and other members of the group. Support group for trans and gender diverse youth and their families, Youth Action Committee, which gives youth the opportunity to engage in activism in their communities. Basically, Positive Space Network has impacted my life in more ways that I could ever articulate, and they, as well as many other organizations, are incredibly deserving of your support. So if you are able to, I would really consider you to donate to such organizations so that they can continue to do their amazing work. And those are all my points.
Thank you, Charlotte. Our final youth talk for tonight will be presented by a group of grade 8 students from St. Michael's Elementary School. The title of the talk is Equity versus Equality. This group of youth are dedicated and hardworking individuals who are passionate to spread the message of the differences between equity and inequality. And equality.
They have grown up with a group of peers who have diverse backgrounds in which they embrace each other's differences and celebrate solidarity. Please welcome the amazing agents of change, Gabriella Richards, Sebastian Mazzari, Aiden Riddle, and Ethan Morgan.
Hello.
Testing. Testing.
I used to live in a bubble of happiness. Nothing could hurt me, and I didn't truly know what was going on in this world. But as I got older, my bubble got smaller, and my brain flooded with more knowledge. Not all of it was good. One day, a girl came to our school, explaining that we needed equality in this world. She spoke passionately, but I couldn't 100% agree with her. What if, instead of we strive for a world full of equality, we strive for a world full of equity? Now, don't get me wrong. Equality is every bit as important as equity, but it's time to let the spotlight shine on equity. When people try to imagine a future, they picture flying cars or the ability to time travel. But what they don't think about is being able to call someone abnormal without it being offensive. Today, if I came to school and called someone abnormal, I would get in trouble for name calling. In reality, everyone's abnormal. No one's the same. You can try to blend yourself in with the crowd, but inside, there's your own separate party happening. People don't realize how great it is to embrace their differences and prove that they're special in their own way. We have been living in the past for 2018 years, and instead of imagining a great future, we need to start here and build one together. Not everyone will like the idea and agree with this, but that's why we're human. We get a say. And no matter how hard we strive for a world full of equity and equality, there will always be someone telling us it's not going to happen. And I agree with them. Nobody can make this world perfect, and nobody can tell someone their opinion is wrong. But we can get others to support and hopefully believe in our opinion. Just like Michael Jackson once said, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change.
Good evening, parents, guests, and children. Whenever I hear the word equality, I think back to its root word, equal. The official definition of equal is being treated the same in quantity, size, degree, or value. However, we sometimes don't get treated as we should be. Many people have overcome an obstacle like this, like Martin Luther King Jr., and many more. Celebrities have also taken initiatives to help spread awareness for this. Even though it does help and reduce some judgment against this, it still doesn't do enough. We should really be trying to strive for being a more equality place than it already is. My question is, how do we make people more aware of equality? These are how you should. By A, telling your friends, B, starting an awareness for equality, and C, also by just treating everyone the same when necessary.
Equity means to give people what they need for their respective needs. You probably think that equity and equality are very similar or are very different, but in fact they're very much the same. Equality was always good, but equity means that everyone gets what they need for themselves. In the world, we need both of these things. They are very important to the way God for the way God wants us to live. When God came to the earth, he died on the cross for us. But before he died, he taught us to treat everyone with respect no matter what. But sadly, we did not finally give equality to women or equity to women until not too long ago. This is a problem in the world. What about the people who need special needs? That is where equity comes in. If we are able to treat everyone with equality and equity, the world would finally be able to evolve from where we are now.
Although equity and equality are two very different concepts, it is important to understand them both and use their differences to put them together to provide the most efficient outcome for an individual's success. As kids, we are taught to treat everyone equally and told repeatedly that God created us as equal. But does this really apply for today's world? Every individual has their own specific needs. Every person equally does not always benefit. Treating every person equally does not always benefit those who need special measures catered to their situation. For example, in this illustration of an analogy about equality and equity, we see three people standing behind a fence at a baseball game. The first panel shows three people who are of different heights standing on boxes. This, in our minds, represents equality, since all the kids have the same boxes at the same height. But as you can see, this doesn't necessarily promote fairness in the way that we would like, since it doesn't allow everyone to actually see the game. This is where we see equity comes in. As seen in the illustration, the next panel shows the taller person who could already watch the game does not have a box, while the shortest person who could not see the game with only one box now has two. The shortest person can now enjoy the game like everyone else. This type of catering to one's specific needs is mentally harder for many to grasp, since initially it seems unfair. Since we are always working towards equality and making sure everyone gets the same thing, we have a harder time seeing fairness and equity and giving people unequal amounts to help everyone succeed. Like I said before, many talk about equality and how people are created equal. But that isn't completely true. People are born into different economic classes, have different personalities, talents, and interests, as well as different races, cultures, and backgrounds. All of these simultaneously play a role in the success of each person. And this is where we see the issue come in. Equality is treating everyone the same, whether or not it will help them succeed. While equity, on the other hand, is giving people the things they need to do well. I believe that everyone should have a chance to be successful and live a fulfilling life. We all want to be treated equally and have the same opportunities. It is up to us, a new generation of students with a voice, to use this opportunity to bring attention to combining equity and equality to ensure we don't just treat others equally, but focus on a way to give each individuals what they need to succeed. So look around you, notice all the differences between yourselves and others, and think to yourself, what will you do with this information to ensure you help shape the future of fairness?
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the students of St. Michael's, and a special thank you to their teacher, Deanna Modaferri, for coordinating their presentation.
Before we close and thank our presenters for their participation, we wanted to end the youth talks with a musical performance by Paige Rutledge, who grew up in North Oakville. In Paige's words, there's nothing like singing a song together that brings people of all ages together, and that's how we're here tonight.
Paige found her passion for music at a very young age. She began taking singing and guitar lessons from when she was around 10 years old, and then found a new passion for performing and writing music. She has since then performed around the GTA and released an EP on iTunes. She is currently working on her second release. Music is the biggest part of her life, and she loves having any opportunity to share her passion with others. Please welcome Paige.
Sure. Actually, no, it's okay. That's perfect. All right. If I'm playing and talking, can you hear me pretty well? All right, cool. Just give me 1 second. All right. How's everyone doing tonight? Good. That's great. So again, yeah, my name's Paige Rutledge. I was born in Oakville. I have never lived anywhere but Oakville. So I have grown up in Oakville. I just wanted to say something first before I go into talking about growing up in Oakville. I've been here for the past 45 minutes to an hour, and listening to all these youth speak on such topics is so impressive. I was standing in the back and I was like, I could never stand up there and talk about things like that. So let's give them another round of applause. They were amazing. All right, so overall, I had a really good experience growing up in Oakville. I was super involved in school. I just graduated from White Oak Secondary School back in 2016, so 2 years ago. I really, truly love Oakville and believe that a lot of the support that I've received from teachers at schools, peers, my parents, just all the other families and friends that I've met in Oakville have always been super supportive of my music, because it's kind of scary when I told my parents I wanted to be a singer one day, and they were like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah, okay. And then after I started taking singing lessons, they're like, oh, she actually really likes it. Like, let's help her follow her dreams. So ever since then, that was kind of my focus in school. I was involved in every single choir band that there possibly was, even if I didn't know how to play the instrument. I just wanted to be involved in music. And I don't think that if I didn't grow up in Oakville, I wouldn't have had the same experience. I've got to travel around Toronto and some schools in Mississauga over the past couple years. I'm really big into the whole anti-bullying movement and supporting equality, like that last group just talked about. And so there was this one school that I performed at in Toronto, and I was just walking around the hallways before I went into their gymnasium to perform, and just taking in the school and just the posters around the school, and they didn't have the same opportunities that I was looking around that I had at my school. Like, there was no clubs for them to join because they didn't have the support. And I think that's something really special and that we can all take away from growing up in Oakville, is that we've always had those opportunities to get involved and to be who we want to be and have that support system, which I think is really great. When I was picking my songs tonight, I went with 2 originals, but I am going to teach you a little bit of the second one so we can sing along to it. I was trying to think of songs that were going to connect with topics that people were going to be talking about. And after hearing the other youth speak, I think they're going to connect, so I really hope you guys enjoy them. The first song is called Broken. It's actually available on iTunes if you do like it. A little bit of self-promotion here. This song, I was performing at a school just outside of Mississauga, kind of a Etobicoke area, and it was, again, for an anti-bullying assembly. And this one girl came up to talk to me after I was done performing, and she just wanted to tell me that she was a grade 7 student, so I guess some of you are probably the same age as her, or pretty close to it. And she was just filling me in on her experience at school and how she had a really hard time with kids bullying her. And it completely broke my heart. Like, I had never heard someone share their story with me and be so open at such a young age. I didn't even think that was possible for someone to go through that at, I guess you're 13 in grade 7? Yeah, so it's such a young age. And so I took her story and I was so inspired, and because she was so optimistic and she was just so inspiring to me that I went home, and in 10 minutes I had written a song about what she had told me. And it's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. It's called Broken, and even out of context, without her story, it's just about being able that no matter what you go through, you're always able to overcome it because you're not broken inside. So I hope you like it. Cheer up, little girl. You got a beautiful smile, and I can tell you haven't shown it in a while. Go on and wipe your eyes. I know it hurts right now, but it all gets better in time. And I can see you've been down a rocky road, but that doesn't mean it'll always be cold. 'Cause you're not broken, just a little shaken up. Forget the words that were spoken, close your eyes and pull yourself up. Just tell yourself it'll be alright. Wait for the day when the sun shines again. Hold on one more moment, 'cause you're not broken. Well, yeah, I know people can be mean. They'll say anything to make them seem like they're bigger and better than you. But little girl, no, that's not true. 'Cause you're not broken, just a little shaken up. Forget the words that were spoken, close your eyes and pull yourself up. Just tell yourself it'll be alright. Wait for the day when the sun shines again. Hold on one more moment, because you're not broken. Well, yeah, I know you'll be alright, 'cause I know what you're going through. And I know the sun will shine, 'cause it shined for me too. but oh, you're not broken. Forget the words that were spoken. Close your eyes and pull yourself up. Just tell yourself it'll be alright. Wait for the day when the sun shines again. Hold on one more moment, 'cause you're not broken. Oh, you're not broken. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so the next one that I'm going to sing is actually a brand new original. Nobody's even heard it yet. You guys are the first ones to hear it, so you're kind of like my guinea pigs to see if it's good, I guess. So this one I wrote, as I said before, my parents have always been super supportive, and I've always received so much support growing up or with music, because it is kind of scary, and wanting to pursue it. So this song I wrote kind of as a thank you to all of those who have always been there to help me and, yeah, just support me. It's called Love Me So. I'm going to teach you a part from it. So there's a part in the song, and I'll cue the sing-along when we get there. I'll just sing it for you, and then we'll do a couple practices where you sing it back to me, and then I'll sing it. We'll get really good, I promise. It's really simple. All you have to say is oh. You're gonna go, oh, oh. Do you want to try it with me? We'll go slow. 2, 3, 4. Oh, oh. You guys sound so beautiful. Do you want to try it by yourself? I'll start you, just so I can hear how you guys sound. Ready? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, so pretty. Oh. All right. I've always been the girl with stars in her eyes, never afraid to take a chance or been afraid to fly. I've always wondered, why am I this way? But all the love you gave me has helped me today. And I don't know where I'm going or what's gonna happen, but I know you love me, so I keep going on this long and winding road, 'cause I know you love me so. Here's your part. Oh, oh, oh. You guys sound so good. You've never stopped me from following my dreams, even though they're kinda scary in the grand scheme. And you were always there for me when I lose my way. So this is my way of saying thanks. And I don't know where I'm going or what's gonna happen, but I know you love me, so I keep going on this long and winding road, 'cause I know you love me so. Oh. sacrifices you had to make. You'd given me all your strength. All the bad dreams, the mistakes I've made have never stopped you from showing me the way. And I don't know where I'm going or what's gonna happen, but I know you love me, so I keep going on this long and winding road, 'cause I know you love me so. Oh, 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 oh. One more time, just for fun. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you. I got to give you guys a round of applause. That was wonderful. Is that good? All right. I just want to say thank you again. I'm really happy and grateful to be here. And just one more time for all the speakers. They were incredible. I can't, yeah. They were so great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your music page. What a wonderful way to end off our celebration. Before everyone leaves tonight, we want to take a moment to thank and acknowledge all the youth who participated tonight. In a moment, we will be calling up Siobhan, the OKM project coordinator, up to the stage. But before we do this, I really want to encourage everyone to take a minute and fill out the evaluation forms that should be in your programs. These are just for us to gain feedback about the event and how to improve it for future years. We also encourage you to provide your email and name on your evaluation form, so that you can keep updated with the work of North Oakville Youth Development Council and possibly find ways to get involved to help you thrive in our community. After you complete the evaluation, please hand it to the person collecting the forms on the way out. Thank you. Now we would like to call Siobhan Laferriere up to the stage. Before Siobhan begins to talk, we would now like to take the time to acknowledge the incredible work and effort that she has placed in the North Oakville Youth Development Council on behalf of all the adult allies, as well as the youth council members. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo the exact words that Cindy said. It is because of you that this event is happening, and like all the meetings that we've had, you've been so phenomenal at. So thank you so much.
Thank you, they're beautiful. Do you mind putting them at the table, Frank? Because I have certificates for you now. Well, hello everyone, and I hope you had a good time this evening and learned something new from these amazing young people. This event would not be possible without the collective efforts of a number of individuals. Firstly, I'd like to give a special thank you to our committed adult allies who sit on the North Oakville Youth Development Council and provide their time and support to our youth council members. Thank you to Nabil Rahman from the town of Oakville. Thank you to Linda Lambert and Jemmer Simon from Halton Region Health Department over there. Thank you to Vicki Maines from the Optimist Club of Oakville. Vicki, where are you? Teresa Rinaldi, who couldn't be here, but she did put in a lot of support for this event from the Oakville YMCA. Michelle Knoll from the Oak Park Neighborhood Center. And also Kelly Giuliani, who couldn't be here today also, but from the Reach Out Center for Kids. I'd also like to thank two key community partners of the council who contributed some of their time to helping the youth plan their event. Thank you to Carol Gall. Carol? There, she's at the back over there. Thank you. And also thank you to Don Pangman of Art House, who couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. And of course, the North Oakville YDC appreciates the ongoing support from all our valued community partners. I'd also like to acknowledge the River Oaks Community Center for providing us with space for our event tonight, as well as Megan for providing the wonderful food this evening. All our help. Once again, thank you to Councillor Knoll for helping us with AV setup. I don't know what we would have done without you here tonight. It's very complicated, but he figured it out. I also personally want to thank our Kids Network colleagues for their teamwork and their willingness to assist in whatever way they could. It's wonderful to be a part of such a great team. We also, oh, yes, clap, yeah. We also want to acknowledge our funder, the Ontario Trillium Foundation, whose support has made this youth initiative in North Oakville possible. Yeah, I mean, you could clap, yay. But probably the most important people we want to recognize this evening are our youth. Yeah. Our youth have not only demonstrated leadership in helping to organize this event, but have displayed courage and passion in sharing their voices with us, telling their stories, and inspiring us as a community to listen to what they have to say. Our youth are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but have much to offer our community right now. Thank you to the youth volunteers of the Oakville YMCA for the time they spent creating signs for the event tonight. They were around. They got us around to our breakout sessions. I'd also like to thank our volunteer Jared as well from the YMCA, who gave of his time to come in and help as well. Jared, I don't know where, Jared. Now I'd like to call the youth in attendance to the stage to accept a token of our appreciation. When I call your name, please come up to the stage. And firstly, we would like to acknowledge all of our youth speakers and our performers tonight. I'm going to need Michelle Knoll's assistance. Yes. I'm going to move this. So the first person I'd like to call up to stage is Giovanna Gerada. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Thank you so much. You did a great job. Thank you. There's a gift card in there too for you. Thank you. Awesome. Teresa Bersevic. I'm hoping I pronounced. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. How do you pronounce it? Teresa Bericevic. Yeah. I totally butchered that name, sorry, but there you go. Thank you so much. Talia Nichols. Julia Cooley. Danielle Southard. Hargan Koreki. Nor Toama. Toama? Okay, good. Phenomenal job. You did an awesome job tonight. Mulebaum. Charlotte Mulebaum. Sebastian Mazzari. This is a grad ceremony. Awesome, well done. You want to turn just so they can take a picture? Here you go. Well done tonight. Gabriella Richards. Really, really insightful speech. You want to turn around so they can see the picture? Ethan Morgan. Well done tonight. Good job. You did a really wonderful job tonight. Aiden Joseph Riddell. Well done. Really good talk. And Paige Rutledge for the beautiful music. You did awesome. I'm gonna hire you for my events. Always. Yeah, totally. Okay, awesome. Thank you to all of your contributions this evening. Now I'd like to call up our inspiring youth council members. I'm so happy to be working with you, and you are a real inspiration to me, as I'm sure you are to others. You're also role models to others, and I also invited my 9-year-old son tonight, Tyler, specifically, just because I believe that all the youth here are great role models that will hopefully encourage him to have a voice and actively get involved in his community when he's your age too. So thank you, and please come to the stage when I call your name. Ira Kathuria. You're awesome. There's supposed to be a part in there too, okay? Cindy Lynn. Awesome tonight. Fatima Zaidi. Lucy Cartwright. Thanks so much for your help tonight and your organization. And Murad Nur Mohammed. Thank you. Thanks for all your help, Murad. I'd like to recognize, oh, sorry, whoops, one more. Victoria Zapiri, who helped us with Twitter and our flyer. Oh my gosh, there's a special for you for all of your help. Thank you so much. I'd also like to recognize the youth council members who cannot be here tonight. Alexander Giannotti, Melanie Lopez, Danielle Arabit, and Nicole Noreen. So they organized this too, so thank you to them as well. So thanks again, everyone. And I'd now like to invite Cindy and Ira back onto the stage for our closing remarks.
Thank you, Siobhan. So tonight, youth have spoken, and we hope that you have gained some more insight and awareness about our experiences, which will help you build the conversation with us, build our relationships, see how much we have to offer, support youth voice and leadership in all aspects of our community.
Youth need you, and as we move forward together with this newfound perspective, we must always recognize the value that youth voices in our community have and always will have. Youth building relationships in their community with their peers and adults is the key to having all youth thrive.
We can all make a difference. You can make a difference by being a mentor to the youth that you know.
By supporting us in whatever way you can.
By simply giving us a smile to show that you care and believe in us.
Youth voices matter, but yours does too. We want to work with adults. Will you join us?
Thank you so much for attending our event tonight. Please follow us on Twitter, and don't forget to hand in your evaluation forms and take some of the resources available near the registration desk. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you.